You know, there was an incident that happened in Galatians chapter 2, verse 11, where Paul had to confront Peter about his actions. And a lot of times we look at this as a model for church conflict. But I would propose this has nothing to do with church conflict and has everything to do with the gospel. And if you read closely, Paul says that he withstood Peter to his face because Peter stood condemned. And Peter stood condemned because the very gospel that they all had agreed upon, the very gospel that they had preached, Peter was going against that gospel, creating division among the Jews and the Gentiles and having preferential treatment with the Jews. This was contrary to the gospel, because the gospel of Christ breaks down those barriers, because all people are sinners. And when we come to Christ, we come not as Jews or Gentiles or anybody else. We come as sinners, all equally need being saved. So when Paul withstood Peter, he did so for the sake of the gospel, the rightness of the gospel, the truth of the gospel. Peter, how can you act like this when you say that you're for the gospel? How can you be a hypocrite and show this treatment to the Gentiles when Jews are around? But when Gentiles, and it's just you and Gentiles, you sit with them, you eat with them, how can you do this? This is contrary to the gospel of which you say you believe. So he stood condemned. Now we know later that Peter talks about Paul and that their relationship must have been mended, but let's not escape this fact that this was Paul standing on the gospel. And the question for us, the lesson for us is, what will you and I do to stand on the pure gospel? Are you willing to stand up for the gospel? Are you willing to say the gospel is not a material possession? The gospel is not a making myself better. A gospel is not so that I can simply mend relationships. That the very gospel, the good news, is the fact that sinners can have relationship with the Holy God through the person and work of Jesus Christ. And if you hear gospel of any other nature, you need to stand on it and call it to correction. Galatians chapter 2, verse 11 and following. Have a good day.